The Zyrak Dominion was the most feared empire in the galaxy. Their fleets crushed entire civilizations, their armies conquered planets in days, and their enemies never stood a chance. Yet, when they looked at Earth, they were confused. The missing defenses. Admiral Tylan stood on the bridge of his warship, staring at the holographic display of Earth. Something didn't make sense. "Are you certain?" he asked, his voice sharp. The scanning officer nodded. "Yes, Admiral. No planetary shields, no orbital cannons, no defensive fleet." Tylan narrowed his eyes. Every advanced civilization built planetary defenses, shields, turrets, warships, something to protect their homeworld. But Earth had nothing. No fortresses, no automated drones, just a few small ships that looked more like cargo freighters than war vessels. It was laughable. A strange history. Tylan turned to his intelligence officer. "What do we know about them?" The officer pulled up a report. "Humans are an anomaly. They spread across their solar system, but they have never fought an interstellar war. They focus on trade, science, and diplomacy." Tylan scoffed. "So they are weak." The officer hesitated. "Not necessarily, Admiral. Their history is violent." Tylan frowned. "Explain." The officer continued. "Before they reached space, they fought wars among themselves. Brutal wars. And they won against overwhelming odds. Again and again. But after they reached the stars, they stopped fighting. No recorded battles. No military expansion." Tylan crossed his arms. "So they became soft." The officer didn't answer. Tylan smirked. "Good. It will make this even easier." The invasion fleet. The Zyrak Dominion had decided. Earth would be conquered. A fleet of 50 warships prepared for the invasion. The plan was simple. Arrive. Demand surrender. If refused, attack. Tylan was certain the humans wouldn't resist. What could they do? They had no defenses. As the fleet jumped to Earth's orbit, Tylan smiled. "This will be over quickly." He was very, very wrong. The Zyrak fleet emerged from hyperspace, their warships forming a massive blockade around Earth. Admiral Tylan stood tall on the bridge of his flagship, the Doombringer, watching as their sensors scanned the planet below. Still no defenses, no fleet rushing to intercept them, no planetary shields activating. It was almost disappointing. The demand for surrender. Tylan activated the fleet-wide comms. His voice echoed across Earth's communication networks. "This is Admiral Tylan of the Zyrak Dominion. Earth, you are now under the authority of the Dominion. You will surrender immediately or face annihilation." Silence. Tylan smirked. Typical. The weak always hesitated. Then, finally, a response. A human voice, calm and collected, came through the speakers. "This is General Carter of Earth's Defense Command. Zyrak forces, you are ordered to leave our system immediately." Tylan chuckled. "Or what? You have no defenses, no warships. You are not in a position to make demands." A brief pause. Then Carter's voice returned. "Final warning. Leave now." Tylan grinned. This was almost too easy. The first strike. Tylan gestured to his weapons officer. "Fire a warning shot. Target one of their cities. Show them we are serious." A Zyrak warship powered up its plasma cannons, aiming at a human city. The bright blue energy beams surged toward the surface and vanished. Tylan's eyes widened. "What?" The gunner checked the controls, confused. The shots, they disappeared. "Fire again." Tylan snapped. Another volley, another disappearance. Sensors flared as something moved just outside their scanner's range. It was fast, too fast. Then, before Tylan could react, one of his warships exploded. Not from a human counterattack, not from any visible weapon. It simply ceased to exist. Panic spread through the fleet. Alarms blared. Officers scrambled for explanations. Tylan clenched his fists. What was happening? And then, for the first time, he felt it. Fear, panic spread through the Zirek fleet. Admiral Tylan gritted his teeth as another warship vanished from his display. No explosion, no wreckage, just gone. "What is happening?" he barked. The sensor officer's hands trembled over the controls. "I don't know, Admiral. No energy signatures, no projectiles, nothing." Tylan slammed his fist against the console. "Find the source. Now." Shadows in the dark. The fleet's scanners swept across the system. Still, nothing. Then, for a fraction of a second, something flickered on the edge of their sensors. Something big. Tylan barely had time to process it before another ship disappeared. The bridge fell silent. The once invincible Zirek fleet was being hunted. By what? The hidden fleet revealed. The comms crackled. "This is General Carter of Earth's Defense Command." Tylan's jaw tightened. "What have you done?" Carter's voice was calm. "You assumed Earth had no defenses. You assumed wrong." The space around Earth shifted. One by one, massive ships emerged from the void. Earth's real fleet. But they didn't look like warships. They looked like cargo freighters. Tylan's officers stared in disbelief. "This is a joke," one whispered. But it wasn't. Because these cargo ships had just silently wiped out 5 Zirek warships. And now, they were turning toward the rest. The trap closes. Tylan's mind raced. "How?" "Our scans showed nothing." General Carter answered, as if reading his thoughts. "We don't build flashy warships, Admiral. We build traps. Cloaked dreadnoughts disguised as freighters. Weapons you can't detect. You thought we were defenseless, but you walked right into our web." Tylan's blood ran cold. The fleet had never been in control. Earth had been waiting for them. Admiral Tylan clenched his fists, his claws digging into his palm. His mighty fleet, the pride of the Zirek Dominion, was being hunted like helpless prey. Another ship vanished from the display. Another loss. The officers on the bridge whispered in fear. Zirek warriors never feared battle. But this wasn't a battle. This was a slaughter. The illusion of power. Tylan took a deep breath, forcing himself to stay calm. "All ships, defensive formation. Prepare for a full retreat." But then, Carter's voice echoed through the comms. "Retreat? After coming all this way? That's disappointing, Admiral." Tylan gritted his teeth. "You think this is over?" Carter chuckled. "It was over the moment you entered our system." The Admiral opened his mouth to respond. Then the first explosion hit. The ambush springs. It wasn't from Earth. It wasn't from the mysterious warships. It was from within the Zirek fleet itself. A Zirek destroyer erupted into flames, breaking apart as internal explosions tore through it. Then another. Then another. Sabotage. Earth hadn't just hidden its warships. It had infiltrated the Zirek fleet. Tylan turned to his officers. "Find the infiltrators. Secure all decks." But the moment he said it, his own ship's alarms blared. There were humans aboard the Doombringer. The unseen war. Security teams rushed through the halls of the Zirek flagship, searching for intruders. They never found them. Instead, one by one, systems started shutting down. The weapons locked. The engines stalled. The shields powered off. The Doombringer, the mightiest ship in the Zirek fleet, was now defenseless. A message appeared on Tylan's screen. "Checkmate." Tylan's blood ran cold. For the first time in his life, he truly understood. Earth was never defenseless. The Zirek Empire was. Admiral Tylan's claws dug into the metal of his command chair. His ship, the mighty Doombringer, the pride of the Zirek fleet, was dead in space. His fleet was crumbling, and Earth's so-called cargo ships were still untouched. A desperate gamble. Tylan turned to his officers. "Override the lockdown. Manually restart the engines." Engineers scrambled, claws clacking on control panels. "Admiral, we're locked out." They have full control. Xylan's rage boiled over. We are the Zirac Dominion. We do not surrender. Ready all remaining ships. We'll crash into Earth itself if we have to. But Carter's voice came through the comms again. Admiral, I'd advise against that. Xylan sneered. Or what? You'll destroy us. No, Carter replied. We already have. The final blow. Xylan's eyes flicked to the fleet's status board. His ship's reactors were overloading. Earth's infiltrators had done more than disable his ships. They had turned them into bombs. Panic spread through the bridge. Officers barked into their comms, but no one could stop it. The Zirac fleet, once the most feared armada in the galaxy, was now a fleet of ticking time bombs. A terrible choice. Xylan had only seconds to decide. Stay and watch his entire fleet detonate around him, or flee and return to the Dominion in shame. The choice was no choice at all. With a snarl, Xylan slammed his fist on the console. All remaining ships, retreat. Engines roared to life as the few surviving vessels jumped into hyperspace. Cowards. Xylan's ship, now helpless, was left drifting alone in space. Earth's trap had closed, and the mighty Zirac Dominion had lost. Admiral Xylan stood frozen, his mind racing. The Zirac Dominion had never lost a battle, never been outmatched, never been hunted. Yet here he was, his fleet in ruins, his ship powerless, and his enemies untouched. The bridge was silent except for the distant crackling of overloaded systems. His officers stared at him, waiting for orders. But what could he say? Earth's final message. A new message flashed on the screen. Admiral Xylan, this is General Carter. Your fleet is finished. Surrender now. Xylan bared his teeth. And if I refuse? Carter's voice was calm. Too calm. Then you'll watch your ship's systems fail one by one, until you can't even breathe. Xylan turned to his engineers. Is this true? The chief engineer swallowed hard. Admiral, oxygen levels are already dropping. A chill ran through the bridge. The humans hadn't just taken control of their ships. They had control of their very survival. The weight of defeat. Xylan looked at his officers, warriors who had spent their lives believing in the invincibility of the Zirac Dominion. Now, they were helpless prisoners in their own warship. The realization hit him like a thunderbolt. The humans had played them from the very start. Their cargo ships weren't weak. They were traps. Their lack of defenses wasn't ignorance. It was bait. And the Zirac Empire had fallen for it completely. Xylan let out a slow breath. He knew what he had to do. The Admiral's choice. He pressed a button on his console. This is Admiral Xylan of the Zirac Dominion, he said, voice steady. I acknowledge defeat. A pause. Then Carter's voice returned. Smart choice. Admiral. Xylan clenched his fists. This was the first time in his species' history that a Zirac fleet had surrendered. The shame would never fade. But neither would the lesson. Earth was no weak, primitive world. They were predators. And the galaxy had just learned why. Admiral Xylan sat in his command chair, staring at the blank screen. His once mighty fleet was gone, either destroyed or captured. His name, once a symbol of Zirac strength, was now tied to the worst defeat in Dominion history. The humans had outmaneuvered him at every step. Earth wasn't weak. It was a predator lying in wait, a trap disguised as prey. And now, the entire galaxy would know the truth. The broadcast that changed everything. The screen flickered, showing the Galactic Council chamber. Hundreds of representatives, aliens of every kind, were watching the live transmission. The fall of the Zirac fleet was being broadcasted across the known universe. The mighty Zirac Dominion, who had crushed countless civilizations, had been defeated without a single human warship firing a shot. Murmurs filled the chamber as footage played. Zirac battleships drifting, disabled. Human cargo ships looming over them. The Zirac surrender. Fear spread through the council like wildfire. One ambassador finally spoke. If the humans can defeat the Zirak without even using their full power, what else are they hiding? The true power of Earth. Back on Earth, General Carter watched the transmission with a smirk. "They get it now," he muttered. A junior officer turned to him. "Sir, do you think the Dominion will try again?" Carter chuckled. "Oh, they'll think twice before messing with us again." The lesson had been learned. Earth didn't need to show its true strength. The galaxy feared them just the way they were. And that fear, it would keep humanity safe. The end.